Good morning. Welcome to Sacred Enzyme. I'm Stacy. I hope you're doing well today. So I have a doozy of a, as Roger Spurs on Muslim Fossil University says, I have a shocker du jour for you today. I definitely have a shocker du jour. Okay, in my last couple of videos, I'd been talking about the world's mother. And I talked about how she was wrapped in this fur. And it looked like fur that was like on a wolf or an animal, like a husky or something like that. Okay. Well, I've been going further and further, and then I had another bunch of information come to me. Okay, so this is where we're going with this. Okay, I think that the world's mother is a wolf. I think she's a wolf, and the reason that I say that is that there are so many wolf legends that go back, and right now that we're in the ascension cycle, and we've been going through this shift since the late 80s. There have been so many people that have been having these sightings of these dogmen and these werewolves. Okay, what I understand about it is that the world mother is a wolf hybrid. She's the one that is written throughout literature for being the wolf mother that nursed Remus and Romulus. But there's even more things to connect this. Okay, so the first thing is that I want to talk about my own family, because I've talked about, and anybody that's watching my channel knows that I come from the Randolph family. Okay, the Randolph family were the founding fathers, and how they're related to King Robert the Bruce is that King Robert the Bruce's mother, she was came from a very old Irish king, Celtic king's line, and she was married before. She married Robert Bruce, and the man that she was married to before and her had a child, which was a daughter, and this is where Thomas Randolph came from, and this is my ancestor. Okay, so our ancestry is a little bit different than King Robert because we share a mother. We share the maternal lineage. But then I have my other side of my family, which is my mom's side of the family. And they go back to old German, Frankish, Saxon bloodlines, and also English. And my grandmother also has a little bit of Basque, a little bit of African, and she's a very old bloodline. But there's a family name that's very prominent, and my grandma's always up. I just got a thumb on my watch. My grandmother was very interested in this one family line called Devore, Devore. Okay, so now I want to talk about Merovingians. Okay, so the Merovingian kings are this Frankish kings line that ties into Jesus Christ, okay, the holy bloodline. All right, well, the Merovingian kings, if you take Merovingian and you get to the root word of where it comes from this man that was rumored to have been fathered by Neptune. Okay, Neptune from Atlantis. Okay, all right. Well, you know, there's so many of these kind of stories. It just can't all be fictitious. Okay, we already know that the Anunnaki were here. They were fish people, and that they hybridized the people that were on the planet. Okay, and we have the Merovingian kings that come out of all of this, and Merovingian basically means in there it's like Veru or something like that, but the way that it's spelled out in Old Norse, the meaning of it in Old Norse actually means wolf. Okay, well, the name Randolph means shield wolf. Okay, and there's just so much more to it. So then you have the Lycans. You have the Lycans that are always fighting the vampires in these mythical grimoire stories. You have the Lycans. Okay, well, all these names just don't come out of nowhere. Okay, vampires come from the Necromatons. They are a sect that came off of the Zeta Reticuli group, and they're like the nastiest group of low-dimensional vibrational frequency beings that are on the planet. They have completely fallen into polarity, and they are like really stuck there. And this is where a lot of these monsters that are in these horror movies and stuff, the ideas of them they go back to the Necromatons, okay? Well, you have these wolf people. And what I understand is that the male wolves are the protectors, that they were used as mercenaries. They were fighters, and they're like what we call the modern day super soldier. This is why people that encounter these wolf beings, like, they're scary as hell. They're scary as hell, and they have intelligence. Like, I was listening yesterday because I went to the doctor with my parents. Took my parents to the doctor, and I was in my car and I was listening because I started researching this. I'm like, there's got to be more to this werewolf stuff. You know, are these werewolves really bad, or are they maybe misunderstood? Right? Just like some of the Sasquatches are misunderstood. There's good and bad in everything. Okay, so let's go back and start looking at some of these studies. I've still yet to find one where somebody was physically ripped to shreds by one of these werewolves. Basically, they'd intimidate the hell out of you, run you out of a place, and scare you to death is what they do. And it's people that have stood up to them there, and you know, they show a high level of intelligence, these werewolves do, because this one man had a pistol on his side when he ran into one of these on a hike that he was going camping, and he said that the wolf turned his head and looked at his sidearm and looked back up at him, not saying anything, but just looking like, you know, I see what you got there. Understood that was a gun. An animal's not going to do that. That's not an animal. These are high dimensional frequency beings that are probably coming in and out. If, you know, I think that they come from Hyperborea. I think this is where the world mother lives. She lives in Hyperborea, which is at the North Pole, but it's on a different frequency. And that's why it wasn't iced over in the Hyperborea that I went to. And there were men, and this was the thing. I said that she was in a circle and there were men that were there. The funny thing about the men is that she was wrapped in like this fur, or she was either had fur. I couldn't tell. All I could see was from this up that looked like a little Cupid doll, and she looked Asian or Mongol or Hun, like Turkish or Eskimo. You know what I'm talking about. And that's what she looked like. And she looked childlike. She looked very, very young. So the men that were in this circle, they were all sitting in the circle. The woman was part of the circle. She wasn't in the center. She was part of the circle. And she was the only female that was there. She had jet black hair. The men, they were like sandied hair. And they had like these little cloth things that were just wrapped around their waist. And I thought, that's weird, because they were like, had tremendous physiques too, like totally buffed out fit. And not like huge bulky, but like shapely and very structured, you know, like tight muscles that were, and a trim body, not a bulked up like steroid body. Okay. And I don't remember them having any body hair really. And their hair was long, like length of mine. And it was a sandy, like, oh, I just got another thump, a blonde color. And they had these little claws wrapped around their waist, almost like a little, like a loincloth is the only way I could explain it. And I just thought that was really such a juxtaposition to her having this fur on her, and then them being like barely dressed. And it kind of struck me as odd. And I didn't ask about it. I mean, I don't know what I was doing. I should have asked a bunch more questions, but I just had no idea what was going on. And so anyway, she told me that, you know, that there were going to be things that were going to be happening that were going to put us into the shift. And it was, I could have sworn she said February 11th was when it was going to start. So I started going back and looking and looking. And on February 11th was the day that all this stuff came out about the United States government and all of the embezzling, corruption, and all the things. I mean, there's been so many things that's happened since the 11th. It's been crazy. And we've had all of these earthquakes too. All of these earthquakes. And I think Atlantis is going to come up out of the ocean. I really do. I really do. We're going to find Atlantis. So let's talk about the Lycans. The Lycans are the group that are always fighting with the vampires in these old memoirs, these grimoires. And so the Lycans are an ancient people. So they really are Lycans, Lycinians. Okay, there's the words are in the words, folks. The Lycians, an ancient group of Anatolia, modern Turkey, likely worshipped a wolf god. And you know, my family line traces all the way back to ancient Anatolia, Southeast Asia. So this is where my family comes from. I'm telling you, I think they're wolf people. I think that the Canaanites were canines. Seriously, folks. Okay, they worshiped the wolf god due to the wolf symbolism in their culture. So they had the wolf symbolism all in their culture. Wolves were seen as fierce predators, pack mentality, protection. But you know, these Lycans, they go back to this Greek mythology, which is Lykios, beloved in light. The wolf is one of nature's greatest singers. They talk about them, they're singing, they're howling. So then we have this myth that goes back to where Zeus transformed this man into a wolf. What if he was already a wolf and he could just shapeshift? Lycaon, 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 king of Arcadia. We have an Arcadia, Florida. Guess what? It's really old. I've done a video, a shorts on Arcadia, and there's a huge pink building that goes down a whole city block on both sides, and it has tridents all along the architecture, built in tridents. It's just built out of concrete, and it's just decorating the whole side of the building. Goes back to Atlantis, folks. This stuff all ties in together. Greek mythology, Lycaon was a king of Arcadia, who in the most popular version of the myth killed and cooked his son, Nicetimus, and served him to Zeus to see whether the god was sufficiently all-knowing to recognize human flesh. Disgusted, Zeus transformed him into a wolf, while the son was restored to life. Okay, so maybe he was a wolf to start with, right? And his son was a Lycan, who was a half-humanoid wolf. He fed him to Zeus. Come on. So let's go back and look at who this family is, okay? So this family, this Lycaon, is the son of Pegasus and the Oceanid nymph Melboea or Deandria, daughter of an elder Lycaon. His wife was called Selene, an Ornid nymph who gave her name to Mount Selene, though sometimes she's regarded as his mother instead. The Arcadian town, Nonacris, K-R-I-S, like Christ, like Christmas, was thought to have been named after his wife, right? You know, there's always so many thought tos, right? Well, anyway, these people are totally entwined with the Greek myths that go in with these Lycans, with these wolves, with the whole battle with Troy. This stuff is all intertwined with werewolf. All kind of werewolf lore. Crazy. And then we have Asina. Asina is the name of a she-wolf associated with the Gök-Turk Foundation myth. Now we're going back to more Turkish stuff. This ancestress of the Gök-Turks, maybe like Göbekli Tepe, remember? This is all in Turkey, Anatolia. They worship the wolves. Mentioned yet unnamed in two different wolf tales, the legend of Asina tells of a young boy who survived a battle. A female wolf finds the injured child and nurses him back to health. The she-wolf, impregnated by the boy, escapes her enemies by crossing the Western Sea to a cave near the Koocho Mountains in the city of Tocharians, Tocharians, like Tartarians, like Aryans, like Turkish Aryans. Okay, were the Tartarians wolf hybrids, people? Is this why nobody's allowed to find the Tartarians? Is because they were decimated? And did they end up in the Ukraine after the pole shift? Because on this map, if you do the work and you look down here in this corner by Poland, you see Tartaria. And this is before the pole shift. And when the pole shift happened, it turned everything upside down and this way. And then when you see where Poland is located now, you'll see that Tartaria is actually where I think the modern day Ukraine is. Ukraine. And the Divine Mother is a wolf hybrid. And when they talk about the Merovingian kings, that name also is tied in with wolf. Wolf and dragon. Wolf and dragon. I'm telling you, the Divine Mother is a wolf. She's a wolf. So anyway, the she-wolf was impregnated by the boy. And then in the city of Tocharians, giving birth to 10 half-wolf, half-human boys. Of these, Nejitsi Nishadu becomes their leader and establishes the Ashinian clan, which ruled over Gokturk and other Turkic nomadic empires. In certain cultural narratives and mythological accounts, the character of Asina, with its symbolic association to a she-wolf, is denoted by the name Bozkurt, meaning gray wolf in Turkish, embodying a significant archetype with multifaceted connotations. We have the she-wolf of Roman mythology, which is a similar figure because it talks about the founding of Rome through these two twins again, okay? Twins, all in the family, folks, all in these old bloodline families. Twins. I have twins. My husband's family has twins. My husband's family comes from Lithuania and Italy and France. My family, we've already talked about my family in depth. And then we have the Tili people. They were a gray he-wolf and a Chinese princess, or a Turkish princess, because, you know, these early Turk people went into the modern day Chinese people. The Huns and all of these were these old bloodlines. They look part white, part Aryan, part Asian. They have Asian features and they have pale skin and blonde hair. You have a lot of people that go back and say that some of these Turkish mummies had red hair and blue eyes, and this is where the evil eye comes from. Tell me when you don't see a wolf's eyes, they don't look pretty intense. You don't know what they're thinking. So yeah, the Tili, also named Gakoche or Gayaju, were a tribal confederation of Turkic ethnic origins living in the north of China proper and in Central Asia, emerging after the disintegration of the Confederacy of Changgu. Chinese sources associate them earlier with the Dingling Empire, but they're supposed to be a wolf hybrid group too. So, you know, what's going on here? You know, we've got the she-wolf of Rome, we've got the gray wolf, we've got the Tili people, we've got the Lycans, we've got the wolf mythology that goes back to Apollo. So this is how I want to do the final tie-in with the Divine Mother, the World Mother, and Apollo. Because if you go back and you study Hyperborea, they'll tell you that Apollo was one of the gods that they worshipped, was Apollo. Okay, Apollo, guess what his whole name is? Lykaios, Lykaios, Lord of the Wolves. You can't make this up. Another Greek god is Apollo, Apollo Lykaios, Apollo Wolf, or Apollo Lord of the Wolves. It has been speculated that Apollo's original anthropomorphic form was that of a wolf. Though this is highly speculative, many Greco-Roman Morphic deities might have had non-human predecessors. We already know this. The bird beings, the fish beings, the wolf beings, I mean, the dragon beings. We have every kind of being here. The Lyrans were cat beings. The Dogon tribe were dog beings. Everywhere. The dragon beings, the wolf beings, the sheep. I mean, we've got the minotaurs. We've got, we've got all of these different kinds of beings that were creatures. They were mythological creatures because they were hybrids. They were hybrids with animals, okay? All right, they came out of the primal sound field like that. Okay. All right, so Apollo means bright. Apollo with wolves. Vow to Apollo, the wolf-born god, famed for his bow, that he would sacrifice a glorious hecatomb of firstling lambs. Who is this god Apollo, the son of Zeus and Leto? Leto, Jared Leto, do you remember the show that he did? Where he played the one character where he changed into the vampire, right? He should have just did a wolf because Leto means wolf. So is the Leto family wolf hybrids? Come on. I mean, are they MK Ultra? Come on. I don't know. I mean, let's think about it. Where does Jared Leto, didn't he buy the Laurel Canyon residence where they used to do all those MK Ultra testings and put in place with the hippie LSD project where they took these people and they used them to create frequencies in music to brainwash people, right? Create an epidemic of LSD. The Laurel Canyon experiment, there's all kind of stuff. You go to Professor Hamamoto and listen to all of the research he's done on Laurel Canyon, and it'll blow your mind. But Jared Leto owns that place. Okay, so Leto, the goddess, the mother of Apollo, she turns herself into a she-wolf, and his twin sister, can't make it up, right? Is the goddess Artemis. And if you know anything about Greek mythology, Artemis is a wolf. She is a wolf. Okay. And therefore, indeed, wolf-born is described by Homer in the 4th century BC, Aristotle, when they transported Leto from the land of the Hyperboreans to the island of Delos. She assumed the form of a she-wolf to escape the anger of Hera, so she could shapeshift. So in another variation, Leto was accompanied by wolves, a story that might be depicted on the image of Antonius Liberalis, reporting a tale from Nicander, 2nd century BC. And then there's just all these other names, but basically it tells us about Leto, a slightly different account, giving birth to Apollo and Artemis. She went to Lycia with her twins, where she wanted to bathe her children in a spring when some herdsmen drove her away. Wolves came out to meet her, and wagging their tails, led the way, guiding her to the river Xanthus. She drank the water and bathed the babes, and consecrated the Xanthus to Apollo, while the land which had been called Termillus, which she named Lycia, wolf land, from the wolves that had guided her. And, we have a lot of French connections with this whole saga, too, because these old things go all the way back to Hyperborea. The wolves came from Hyperborea. This is why people are seeing werewolves right now, is because these wolf men, they were the mercenaries. They've been fighting for eons in these galactic wars. These galactic wars from good and evil. This is why you have the werewolf against the vampire. Because you have the necromatons, which are these ET beings, extraterrestrial race, that have come back through time. They influenced the Nazis. They're behind all of these nefarious experimentation on humans, abductions, and all of these things go back to the necromatons. They come from the Zetas. This is hybridization and changing of the genetics. See, this is what happened, is that it was an experiment in duality, and it was all fine and good in the beginning. But then when you have these genetic changes that keep taking place, it introduces so much malware codes into the biological computer system, because we're biological computers. And then you become so severed from source. And our brains have been wiped because of the firmament. We lost the bicameral mind. So some of these creatures, yeah, we're terrified of them because they totally turned the script. I would love to hear about an encounter where somebody encountered one of these wolf hybrids and they didn't act scared, or they had a conversation where they could understand, because I've had dogs before that are fantastic dogs, but when a stranger comes to my house, my dogs will intentionally intimidate them to see what they do. And I don't know if you've ever had a dog like that, but my Labradoodle is the same way. It's the poodle in her. She is extremely smart, and she will intimidate people. But I also used to have a dog called a Briard, and they came from France. And I'm telling you, this dog was not a dog. This dog was a human. And it totally makes sense. His name was Solomon, of all things. Why I picked that name, I have no idea. But I know that Solomon was an angel and a dog. And I guarantee you, he was part of my old family that goes all the way back to Hyperborea. I kid you not. I kid you not. You can't make this stuff up. There are so many myths that talk about wolf hybrids. The world mother, she is a she-wolf. She is a she-wolf. I'm telling you. She came from ancient Southeast Asia, and she looks Turkish. She is Apollo's mother. Apollo and Artemis's mother. They were twins, and they came from her. She was Leto, the world mother. Some people call her Lupa, but she was half wolf. The world mother is a wolf, folks. So with that, I'm going to end this. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? I've seen her. I've seen her. My family, they come from wolves. They come from wolves. They're wolf hybrids. They're wolf hybrids. No wonder that I have a pack of dogs that follow me around everywhere I go. My husband calls me the pack leader. No shit. So with that, I'm just freaked out about this. I'm totally freaked out about this because this is all totally making sense. There's words upon words and words and words. Canine, Canaanite. The mark on Cain. Cain worked with the animals, right? Have you ever seen those dogs that they put out into the herd of sheep? And you can't even tell them from the sheep until a wolf shows up, right? A wolf to eat the sheep. I don't know. I don't know. There's something to it. If you get enough circumstantial evidence, you potentially can build a case, my friends. That's all I got to say. So with that, when you come and find me, I'll be here. We're living in the past, present, and the future, all at the same time. So don't forget to get outside today. Put your feet in the grass, barefoot. Give your thanks to the Heavenly Father and the Divine Mother, Mother Earth, Leto, Goddess Leto, Mother of souls, Mother of Earth. So, what do you think? I'd love to hear what you have to say. And you know what, guys? Hit the like button on here and subscribe to the channel if you're going to watch it. Let's get more people watching the channel. Let's get more participation, So anyway, let me hear your thoughts, folks. Let me hear your thoughts. Are you a dog person? Do you love wolves? Is there wolf symbolism? Symbolism? I can't even talk today. Is there wolf symbolism in your family? I mean, you need to take apart your name. Look at your name. And I'm not just talking about people that have white skin. And that's the other misconception, is that so much stuff has been put on race. Skin color is totally irrelevant. Totally irrelevant. We come in all shades. A dog is a dog. A dog is a dog. A dog can have white hair. A dog can have black hair. A dog can have brown hair. A dog can have spots. A dog can have all kind of markings. It's still a dog, hun. We're all human. We're all human beings. And we all need to do our backgrounds and see where we come from. Because we are so mixed. We are a mixed up bunch of crazy salts, folks. And I know my family is world travelers. We've picked up DNA codes all along the way, you know, and I think this is what we were supposed to do. We were supposed to take these genetic codes and bring them back so we can go back to source. So, you know, all of this stuff, it has nothing to do with skin color. People, that is just a construct, so we don't think of bigger thoughts. If we can stay hung up on the small shit, we don't ever take the time to look at anything else. And so, please keep an open mind. Keep an open mind. There is so much more to this. There's so much more to this. So with that, I hope to catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Sacred and Sound. Bye-bye.